In order to recruit talent for the new unit, a film competition was held called Working Class Idol. The prize was a trip to Cuba and the United States to film labour events, as well as scholarships to study filmmaking. The winners of this competition have gone on to make more films for the union movement. In the lead up to the competition, it was noted that the work of filmmakers was definitely back in the spotlight for the union. Its National Secretary, Paddy Crumlin, said that our union has a long history of supporting workers in developing their full potential in every aspect of their lives. Cultural issues are inseparable from industrial and economic issues, and we must record and preserve what is ours, ensuring that our national identity is not lost in this age of globalisation. For the second round of the Working Class Idol competition in 2008, the winner, Jamie McMeechan, has gone on to become the mainstay of the MUA film unit. Jamie continues in the footsteps of the old film unit quite literally. He often stops by Norma Dish's place in Sydney for a cup of coffee and to discuss the latest project. Jamie values her opinion and advice and has helped to develop his skills as a filmmaker. The new film unit, Jamie and a small band of co-workers, make their films around their waterfront work, just like Keith, Norma and Jock did 50 years ago. They edit their films in their own time and they are circulated to members through state branches where they are shown at stop work meetings and other functions. The productions of the new film unit in many ways carry on the traditions of its predecessor. Films are made to document working conditions, to depict industrial disputes and labour gatherings, to record the talks of union leaders and workers, and to celebrate union celebrations such as May Day. Safety issues, conferences, campaigns of other unions, national and international labour days and commemorations, protests and social justice events are amongst the film unit's films. As many older unionists die, their funerals and life celebrations are also documented for posterity. Often workers get to tell their own stories straight to the digital camera, and at other times the film is a recording of an address or a picket line. Many shots in the new films of union members on the docks of Sydney mirror the older films. However, these days, cranes and forklifts have taken the place of men lifting bales and sacks and pulling old trolleys, and the diminished workforce is extremely evident. But there are great new developments in the output of the unit. It was not until 1989, nearly a century after the establishment of the union, that the first woman joined its ranks. Women, now a force within the Australian waterfront industries, have taken their place on screen as well, and their voices are heard in the new films. Women currently make up about 5% of the union's membership, and that figure keeps growing rapidly. The MUA Film Unit not only makes productions on its women members, but on associated issues such as International Women's Day, White Ribbon Day, and some breast cancer fundraising ventures that all the Wharfies support. And more generally, the scope of topics that are covered in the new films has broadened greatly since the early films, with new productions that focus on the global battles of labour which the MUA supports. Protests about issues in Ireland, Cuba, Mexico, Colombia, Indonesia. Films are made that document these. And the new unit's response to global issues has been prolific and very active. In the mid to late 1990s, a new alternative media movement gathered a lot of action with the internet. The state of contemporary participatory media, according to Cordell and De Silva, had its roots in the democratic philosophy that anybody has the right to tell their own story, and aims to encourage media diversity by breaking down the information stronghold held by a small number of large and powerful media corporations. With the new century, we now have a new method for unions to reinvent themselves and their representation. And many Australian unions have definitely taken advantage of the opportunities of Web 2.0 to improve political networking opportunities and attract members and supporters. The internet provides unions with a space to give online audiences the union's side of issues, as well as a place to connect with their own members. They provide a site to present their video productions to members and non-members alike, and used as a method to strengthen membership ties. It is another way to distribute counter-hegemonic information on current and past events that affect working people not just in Australia, but all over the world. Similarly, Jamie McMeechan of the New Wharfies Film Unit posts all his films onto the MUA's YouTube site, which was established in 2007. YouTube as a new political and film distribution opportunity means that this can be considered as the public screen, perhaps rather than the previous conception of the public sphere, further extending the work of the union. McMeechan's productions are available round the clock, making for a 24/7 public sphere. We know that media systems and processes are central to political communication in the modern world, and politics is now framed by the media, by its structure, its logic, its organisation, and its flow. Indeed, Martin Albro contests that modernist politics has ceased to be primarily about the fight for dominance of ideals, and it is more about the opportunity to participate in cultural production and conflicts and tensions over identity. Even though these days the internet provides the most widespread side of independent voices, I believe that the production of videos by unions for themselves is still important, for the same reasons the old film unit made their films 50 years ago. There is always a need to have an independent and alternative voice. Both the old and the new Wharfies film units, as well as the many energetic independent producers in the middle period, mobilised a set of cultural, political and economic resources to create and appropriate representations of labour, working very hard to interject their viewpoint into Australian and world culture. One aspect of the work of these people in their presentation of working-class cinematic histories is to heed Walter Benjamin's advice and to brush history against the grain. By bringing back into clearer focus the work of these filmmakers in documenting past and present injustices, this presentation not only performs a corrective function, but locates a site of history and memory where the present and the past intersect. Benjamin attests that every image of the past that is not recognised by the present as one of its concerns threatens to disappear irretrievably. And appraisals of such under-researched formations expand the province of cinema history as well as cinema studies. In the 1950s, activists like the old film unit members fought for the rights of people who were overlooked within a society of relative prosperity. Australian society has patently changed a great deal then, but these struggles persist and are represented in the new films of the Wharfies.